In this video, I'm going to show you how to import your DXF into Torchmate CAD and then be able to create our toolpaths and export to be able to cut on our Torchmate 4400. Once you have Torchmate open, we want to import our DXF. So we go to File, Import, and you're going to look for where your DXF is. I'm going to use this one. Let's read, and this is going to be a monogram. So I click, make sure that I have my scale options that are in the same unit that we exported it as. In our case, I did this in inches. If you did it in millimeters or centimeters, you're going to want to select that. Then we press OK. If you bring this in, your DXF in, and it's much bigger, so let's say it's too big and I intended this to be 18 inches or 12 inches or whatnot, you're able to change that up on top here. So here we have your X and Y position. We also have our X and, or our width and our height. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change my object width from 47. I'm going to change that to 12 inches. And as long as I have my dimensions locked, it'll keep that same dimension, or it'll keep that same ratio. So when I do this, what I want to do is I want to bring this into my bottom left-hand corner. I don't want it touching the corners, but I want to bring it down into that lower left-hand corner. So the next thing I'm going to do is I will create toolpaths that are on the inside of this. And we are going to create toolpaths on the inside, and those are called female toolpaths, and the toolpaths that go on the outside are considered male toolpaths. If I were to have a few lines drawn on there as decals or any other type of line, we're able to do those toolpaths too, and those are going to be called online toolpaths. So before we start, what we need to do is we need to break up our toolpaths, or our lines, excuse me. And how we do that is we go to it's in arrange, and it's going to be break path. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to select our different vectors. Because it was brought in as a DXF, they all come in as one layer, and the break path under the arrange button is just going to break those apart so that we can select each one individually. So the easiest way to do this is I want to create my inside toolpaths first. I'm going to select the entire thing, and I'm going to hold down Shift on my keyboard, and I'm going to select my outside vector, and then I'm going to select any online vectors that I may have on here. So now all of the vectors that are selected are our inside vectors. So from there, I'm going to click on Machine, and I'm going to go down to Create Toolpath, and we're going to select Female. For this, we're going to leave that there. We're going to go to Basic Cut, and our feed rate for 14 gauge steel is going to be 120 inches a minute, and our power is going to be at 100% for this, and then we press OK. And you may get a pop-up talking about lead in, lead out calculation. You can just hit OK on these. What's happening there is these small areas may not have enough room for a lead in or lead out, such as that spot right there. And so what will happen is it'll just shorten up that lead in or lead out that you may have there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a online toolpath here. So I just selected that one line, and this would be if you have any sort of interesting types of lines or anything like that. So I'm going to click on Machine. I'm going to create a toolpath, and this one's going to be an online. And again, my basic cut, I'm going to have 120 inches per minute with a power of 100%. And we'll press OK. And now I've got a toolpath that follows that line precisely. And then finally, we are going to cut this entire thing out. So I'm going to select my outside one, click on Machine, click Create Toolpath, and I'm going to select Male, Basic Cut, 120 inches a minute at 100%. Press OK. And now we are almost ready to export our G-code. The next step that we need to do is we need to sequence what our toolpaths are going to be. So if I were to just not check this, what could happen is I could cut this entire thing out before I would cut the inside out. And if anything shifts when we cut this out, the inside pieces would not be in the right spot, and it could cause a torch breakaway, or it may ruin your part. So what we want to do is we want to ensure that we are cutting out all of the inside parts first before we cut the outside part. So I'm going to highlight all of my toolpaths, and then I go to Layout, go down to Sequence, and then we want to select Start Sequence by List. And when you see this, we have the polygon and then the toolpath for that. What I want to do is I want to select the toolpaths only. And then what we want to do is we want to look for what looks to be the outline of this R, which it looks like that one right there. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to go and set that to back, meaning it's going to cut out this first, and it's going to go through this list, and the last thing that this is going to cut out is the outline for that. Then we'll press OK. The next step is we want to highlight this one more time, and we are going to go to Machine and click Output. And if we would like to preview our cut, we can click on our little hand. It looks like it's touching a pendant right there. We click on that. And this is all of our G-code that was produced by the software. If we want to preview our toolpath, we scroll down and click on the bottom, and we press the play button right here, and it'll preview it. And you can see that it's going through, doing all the inside toolpaths first. And once we get to the end, it will cut out the R, which it's doing so right now, and now is complete. If everything is good to go, what you can do is we can click on Cut Now. Otherwise, we can hit Close and fix any issues that you may have. What we'll do is we'll click Cut Now, and you are going to want to save this on, I'll just save this on in my documents, and make sure that we save this as a file that we will recognize. I'm going to name this Read Monogram, and we click Save. And once you are done with that, you'll be able to take that file and you'll be able to bring it to the Torchmate 4400 to be able to make your cut.